Hello again, Mark here, and I may have made a little blooper in my last video, and I'm going to show you today how we avoid doing that particular kind of error. In fact, let's have a look at what I did. I wanted to insert a record in my list of values here. I actually inserted the complete row. Insert, which is fine at this point. You know, you can put your record in, maybe another Miami one, 400, and this amount here automatically gets updated. But if you see here, I've messed up the list of values on this side, so I'm going to Control Z 2 or 3 times to revert. I'm going to show you the best practice way to avoid doing this is by putting this list of lookup values on another sheet, on another worksheet. So first of all, I'm just going to create some extra columns to work with here before I do the move, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this worksheet so all these values are on the lookup worksheet in the correct place. So down here I do a right click at the bottom and I select move or copy. In this case we're going to create a copy of this particular worksheet and just put it before sheet 1. It's created a copy, and what I'm going to do now is change the name. There are two ways to do it. You can right click and rename, or you can merely double click and then type in your new name. I'm going to call it, let's call it D1 for simplicity. Okay, so back to the original spreadsheet, worksheet I should say, and we're going to copy all this to here, because this is where we're going to modify it. I do it this way so I keep the original validation code here. I can check it up if I go badly wrong here. Okay, so we're looking at data validation again. Validation, and we see it's a list and it's looking across here J2 to P2, but we know we've gone onto another spreadsheet, onto another worksheet. I must concentrate on saying worksheet. It's part of the same spreadsheet. Right, so what you do to edit this part, to signify the name D1, you just put D1 followed by exclamation or shriek mark, and it's still looking up the same values, but because we've copied across on the worksheet. So press OK, and we've still got the lookup values OK. And for example, if we change this and made it XX, it wouldn't affect this. It should still show Florida, which it does because it's now looking at this worksheet D1 below. Okay, I'm going to copy that back just for the moment. Now this is more difficult on the city selection, but before I do that I'm going to copy down the validation, this cell, with my normal paste special, pasting down the validation keys. Now I have to change the validation on this cell, on the city cell, and what I find is this formula is too long to modify, too awkward. I have to type it in again, so I'm going to delete all this. Right, so we're going to use the offset function again, and it starts at J. I'm using the $ because it's a fixed reference. Going number 1, and we're going to match, and in this particular instance we're going to match this cell here. We're checking for Florida records, except we're going to make the digit relative value, not a fixed value. And now we've got to I've just realised I've got to come back to this part because I forgot to prefix it with worksheet. Remember, it's D1 followed by shriek. I'm not prefixing the new worksheet with this cell because we are actually checking on this particular value on this drop list sheet. And it can be a bit fiddly editing this, so bear with me. 1 match, and again we have to use the D1 shriek for the range, and range again will be J to P2. We're looking for an exact match of the state. Close bracket, and let's see if that will do the job. So if we look at the drop down, it appears to have worked. And if I show you now, if I delete all these values here, I will clear the values here. This should still work because it is looking at the new worksheet, but this one won't because it's still looking here and the values have disappeared. So now I need to copy down and paste special. Paste special, copy down validation. So we have success. Or do we? Success to a certain extent. I've got to edit the formula just to make sure it's fine. I'm just going to check the data validation again. Right. I'm matching the fixed E3. I shouldn't have done that. It should be relative, take out the, so if I copy down again and paste special, so if we look at the drop down on here, yes, we've got the Texas cities. So it all goes to emphasize my point, when you set up this type of lookup, it's always best to put the lookup values, the lookup list, on a separate worksheet. Okay, I hope you understood what I've been getting at. It's a bit fiddly, I know, but it does pay off in the long term. Have a good day.